Hi, I'm Khumutz and I'm a run streaker. And I'm doing Addo 100 mile. Let's see how we fare with that. So this is about 3 months since I did Longmore 200 mile, and since Longmore I've just been trying to find that spark again to want to do hard things. I feel it got lost after doing Loafer. I kind of lost that passion, that drive to do hard things again. And so doing this is important for me. It's extremely important to see if I still want to do hard things, if I still can push myself, because I've been finding it very difficult to push myself since December. I hope I can. I'm hoping I don't pull out. I'm hoping I find that drive, that push, that will to continue going through the suffering. And what better event than Addo, which is one of the hardest 100 milers out there. I mean, it's hot, times are brutal, and it's 100 miles. So hopefully I can do this, and I can do it well. I'm not even looking for any placements. I'm looking to get through the 161 kilometers with my mind still intact, to bring back those pieces that I feel I've lost. Because since Loafer, it feels like my mind just collapsed on itself, and there's parts of me that are missing. I know they're still there, but I just can't bring them out at the moment. And hopefully with the training and doing the actual race, I can bring them out again. I'm hoping I can. We'll see at the end of the day what I manage to pull off. Alright then. Hopefully we'll see each other on the end of the finish line, doing some dance. Hopefully I'll be doing a dance at the end of the finish line if I'm hobbling or being evacuated. Alright then.
Today is a difficult one. I'm supposed to do a LSD, a 4-hour long run, but I can't. It's right in the middle of the afternoon and it's Ramadan, so I am fasting right now. And yesterday I had a 35-kilometer workout, so fun. So I just don't have the legs today. I don't. It's middle of the afternoon, my legs are gone, my legs are short, and it's Ramadan, so I've got about 4 hours until I can break my fast. So I have to manage this well. So I don't think I can manage the 4 hours. Plus it's about to rain either side, so it doesn't matter which way I go, I'm gonna get washed out. Today, so I'm gonna do a few climbs and try not to die. Yeah. Welcome to base camp. So usually the mountains are right there. Dirt road into camp. As you can see, there's camp. There's main camp. So we're gonna do a shakeout run before we go. Gonna do a shakeout run just now. It's about 11 in the morning, so we'll wait until 12 until it's hottest, and then we'll go. Look at that. I don't care about all that. That's about. I don't care about. That's good. Just exploring the trail before we run tomorrow. So that's about 10 k's to kill and an entire day to myself. So nice shakeout run. Although it looks like I'm walking, I've been running most of the time, but I also have to chill because I've got 100 miles to do tomorrow. So smile. Good morning. Good morning. I feel good. I danced all day yesterday, so I'm excited. I'm really excited. It's a very strong field this year. A few former champions and people who have raced on this before, so it's going to be a fast one. So I'm really excited to go out there and have some fun. And right now it's not looking too hot, which is another good sign. I just hope it doesn't rain. Other than that, I think we're good. Anyways, thank you for paying attention to me. Goodbye. Wait, just look at this.
Nine two. Yes. Am I free to go?
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You guys go through you might come across gates at certain points on the route, and you are going to come across gates at certain points on the route. If the gate is closed, it won't be locked. Just open it, let yourself through, and close it again, please, because we are running through 2 game farms on the Karoo side of the course, and we need to make sure that those fences are, or the gates are kept closed to keep the cattle that are on the middle farm from getting into the 2 game farms on the left.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So, to provide important context, going into Addo, I had fasted so I had done Ramadan for 17 days.
Hey guys, I know what you're saying. I gotta get a move on. Let's go.
When I started the race, I felt I had trained hard, but I knew that my stomach was not on my side. So in the first, from about 5 Ks, when I was trying to take in water, my stomach just couldn't open because it was used to not taking in as much food or water. So not taking in as much food or water and trying to do it on the go in the heat in the afternoon when it's used to not doing that, I felt immediately pushed back from my stomach. So I said, oh, it's going to be a long day. So I said, you know what, forget it. After those first 3 miles, I said, let's just run hard and burn the boats, because I knew the boats weren't coming back anyways. The boats were leaking, so I said, let's just burn the boats, go for it, just send it, run as hard as you can for as long as you can, and then just survive. And so from about 10 Ks, I felt my body starting to cramp up already, which is something I'm not used to. I'm used to at least cramping later. So I tried taking in food at about 7 miles again, and it just was not going in, and I said, it's gonna be a long day. So I had my energy jellies, and then between Alpha and Bravo, I had my energy jellies, and that was getting me through a little bit, but I just couldn't take in food or water, so I was just ramming down water. And got to checkpoint Bravo. When I got to checkpoint Bravo, I was struggling to take in any calories at all. But seeing Colin and his team there, and Sean and them, it was like, okay, come on, let's push. So I think that was the first time I had doubts of even finishing, and that was so early on. And then going into the climb between Bravo and Charlie, it was one steep climb, and that's when the cramps really started, and they hammered me. And I said, okay, at the next aid station, you're just gonna try and fix your wrist. And that's when Thomas passed me, and when Thomas passed me, I said, let's get to the next aid station, but I couldn't. I was telling myself, don't sit, and that lasted for about 500 meters, and then I sat for about 15 minutes. I said, look, we're gonna get to the next aid station, and we're gonna fix your race, because I can't take calories in on the go, so I have to eat as much as I can at each aid station. So I got up, I was maybe 800 meters from the next aid station, but in the moment, it felt like 10 Ks away. So I pushed, and then I finally got to the aid station, and then I said, let's fix it. I was cramping really badly, but I said, let's fix it here. So at Charlie, I sat, and I ate, and I sat, and I ate, and I sat, and I ate, drinking a lot, trying to take in as many calories as I could, as many electrolytes as I could, and I felt defeated at that point. And then I was watching all the other runners come in and pass me. Eventually I slipped to about 8th, from 4th to 8th, I think, 8th or 9th. And
Oh my goodness,
finally I felt like I had taken in enough calories, and I left, went through,
that's the city down there.
and on the way to Delta, after overtaking a few people,
Alright, let's
same
move.
thing again. Cramps hammered me.
Cramp or not,
Especially
we're
on
gonna
this
get through
one.
this.
So we had one big climb and it just, my legs said no. I remember having to physically bend my leg because I would be climbing and then I would cramp so bad when I was straightening my leg. So I had to turn around and then physically bend my leg like that just to stop the cramp. And then that carried on. Eventually I felt fine. And after I finished one of the big climbs and then on the descents, I was just going. And then finally we got to checkpoint Delta after I overtook a few people again. Oh. And then it just carried on like that through to the night. I think it was checkpoint. Yes, it was at Echo where I was just really having a torrid time from all of the climbing. And I said, this is my last chance to fix my race, otherwise I might have to pull out. And so I took my time there. I don't know how many people pass me, and then if you see in the pictures, I'm opening electrolytes, just trying to put them in my bottle, and then I'm going. But I said, at this point, I really have to take my time and fix my race here. Otherwise, it's not going to bode
That's how
well.
we going.
So I took my time there. And
Man, look,
eventually I left
the
feeling
sun is going to.
good.
It's about to rise. It's
I
going
felt
to
like I
rise
could
just
finish.
now. It's
And
5 in the
then
morning.
I caught up to the
I
other
see the
guys.
difference.
And the cramp started again. And then that's when Irvin gave me this sachet of Revive. Mixed it in with my Tailwind and my electrolytes. So I had thrown in a bunch of stuff together just to get as much electrolytes as possible. And finally I mixed that, and then I waited because it was at night at this point. I waited a little bit and I waited for about 20 minutes just to let it settle into my system, and then I said, let's go for it. And then I finished the climb, and that was the end of the cramping. And at night, I was just going for it. And seeing headlights in front of you is so motivating. See, okay, there's one. Okay, there's a group of them. So I was able to push myself. And then looking back in the morning on the same place that I was sprinting down at night, that is so dangerous what I did. But at night, the adrenaline was pumping. I had finally cleared the cramps, so I was going. And I had fun running at night. So throughout the night, I was able to catch and overtake people, and then I finally settled into 4th, and I just had, from there, I had a decent race, but I didn't have enough water, so I was scared to pee. I was scared to look at my pee when I would pee, until eventually, in the morning, I finally decided to look at my pee, and it was Coca-Cola. It was like tea. And turns out that is a sign of rhabdo. So rhabdomyolysis is not something you want to have when you're 60 kilometers away from the finish line. But that's what I had to deal with. So eventually finding out that I had that was not a fun experience, but I just had to keep it to myself. I remember at the start of the race, I was being interviewed by one of the camera guys, and he said, what advice would you give to new runners? And I said, look, just take it A station to A station. Don't look at the big picture of 161 kilometers. Just take it A station to A station. And I eventually followed my own advice. I said, look, you're struggling here, but the next A station is what? 10 Ks away. You can do 10 Ks. That's what you do every day. It's just the daily 10K run. Nothing new. That's how I would take it. Okay, next A station is 7 Ks away. Okay, next A station is 12 Ks away. Okay, we can do that, we can manage that, okay. And then eventually, you start ticking off A stations, and once you start doing that, it's like, oh, we're actually close to the goal than we thought. It goes from being 12 A stations to 8 A stations to 5 A stations to 4, and it's like, oh, we're finishing, we're actually going to do this, we're going to finish. And that's just how you have to approach it. You can't think of the big picture, because once I narrowed my focus down to let's get to the next mile, let's get to the next climb, let's get to the next pay station, that's how I would take it. And so doing that allowed me to finish, saying, look, the only way to get to the next aid station and give them their job is by running, hiking, crawling, it doesn't matter. But to get them their job, you have to get there. And that's what I did. It was a fight from 10 Ks in.
Slowly but surely,
So
technical
fighting
details are
for
becoming my ears.
94 miles. But never did I think that I was going to pull out. Even when I was cramping on the climbs in the first 50 Ks, where I couldn't climb and people were just passing me by, and I was sitting on the trail and I was trying to cry, but I couldn't cry or just get any relief or release or anything. Nothing was coming out except for cramps. I didn't think that I was going to pull out of the race, and I didn't.
There we go, come on, Paul! Woo! Great job! A little Macarena.
I can safely report that we did in fact get the buckle and the medal. 4th, 29 hours, 11 minutes or something. So we did it, we actually got through it, and maybe it's recency bias, but that was the hardest race I've ever done. And I'm telling you, the 200-mile race is still fresh in my mind, but that one felt like the worst. That was the worst I ever felt in a race. That was so difficult. I was really fighting to get to the finish line. That was the hardest, but we did it. And so that's brought out that fight in me again. That desire to get to the finish line, it brought out that fight in me that I was looking for. Exactly what I wanted. I wanted to fight to get to the finish line, and I did end up fighting to get to the finish line. And look at this. Look at this benefit. Look at this. Isn't that incredible? Look at that. I did it. And I'm so incredibly proud. I think that person that I was before, who wanted to do the hardest things possible, who disappeared after long, is back. I'm so ready to fight and train and work hard. Not even just work smarter, but work smarter and hard. I want to do both. I'm so happy that it's back. That race was so amazing. I got to run with people for the first time. Running with people in a race, which is something I never do. I got to run with Anne-Marie, Irvin, Tumelo, Nikki. I barely ran with Sylvie, but we ran with Sylvie for a little bit. And I ran with Emma. So talking with people, interacting with people, chasing people, that was so much fun. I had so much fun in this race, and I learned so much in this race. I'm so happy with how this race went, because going into this race, I said I wanted to use this race to learn. And when you ask God to teach you lessons, He will, in fact, teach you lessons.
So that we're gonna see you now.
So I'm very happy with that. I think, I'm not sure if it's my favorite race, but it's really up there. I mean, even going back to PE and seeing MV, Babalo, Tera, seeing Sean and Sheena, seeing Gareth, all of these people, and then even just, not just the Live Adventure Group, but even people I met at Longmore, seeing them again, it was like coming back home, you know. So this race was truly spectacular. I think this might be my favorite. I mean, it's definitely up there. Okay, fine. Fair enough, I've only done 4 races. But top 2, man. Anyway, next race, rest of the year. Watch out at the finish lines, because I've got something cooking at the finish line. 2 things kept me going. Number 1, the most important thing that kept me going was I promised my sister I would do the Macarena at the finish line. And I said, you're a brother of his word, you're going to do it. And so, with each passing aid station, I knew, let's get to the next aid station, let's get to the next aid station. We're going to do the Macarena at the end. You're going to do the Macarena. And since you're watching this, since I'm reporting to you, it means I did do the Macarena. And the other thing that got me through was my jokes. Because I know that most likely I'm not going to see the people who are at the aid stations at the end, at the finish line. So I remember, where was it? I think maybe it was at Checkpoint Charlie or Checkpoint Delta, where I said, look, the only way you're going to get your jokes out to all of these people is by running to each aid station. So those jokes really kept me in it as well. So having the desire to go and distribute the jokes, whether they're terrible dad jokes or not, it doesn't matter. I knew that I had to go and run to each aid station in order to deliver them, and I did not write those 12 or 13 or 11 or however many jokes for nothing. So yeah, we did it. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.